The Minnesota Wild have officially begun the rebuild. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my NHL 20 franchise mode here in the state of hockey. Now, this episode, this franchise is going to change. Things are going to happen quickly. I've been discussing for a long time, or I would say the last 10 episodes, it's been more prevalent. I've been talking about a retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. Now, with our loss against the Winnipeg Jets in round number 2, Game 7, yet again, that was our 6th straight Game 7. This team is tired. This team is getting older. We've discussed it a lot. We have talked about, is this team going to be competitive for much longer? Obviously, you have Cale Newman, and you have Francis, and you have Pietrangelo, Toby Kahn, Gogolev, Hadar. Those are our big guys. You look at the AHL. We got a lot of young kids coming up. We're gonna be good. But I was talking about a rebuild. This rebuild needs to happen. How much longer are we going to stay competitive with the cap affecting us this much? Because going into this offseason, we have to re-sign Harry Parrish and Bissonnette, and we're not going to be able to retain everybody. And that's a fact. It sucks, but we've been so competitive for so long that it's starting to rip us apart. And we've won 14 straight President's Trophies. It was only a matter of time, and with young contracts coming up with Grossman and a bunch of young kids like Don Kreider again, we don't have much time to change this team, and I think we're all agreeing here that this team needs to be blown up. Now, I think it would be really fun to blow this team up. I think it would be really fun to just throw everybody on the block and try to do something, because personally, I don't think there's many untouchables. I think the majority of our young guys are untouchables. Harrison Hadar, Toby Kahn. I think those are two pretty big untouchables. I would say Harry Parrish is also an untouchable. The Stanley Cup champions, the New Jersey Devils. Congratulations, New Jersey. Yeah, they didn't beat us that long ago in the finals, so congrats, New Jersey. You definitely deserve that trophy. Good team. Are we looking at a new dynasty in the New Jersey Devils? Maybe, but let's go ahead, check out the award. No, let's check out the, first let's check out the playoff tree. I want to see the playoff tree. So, from the West, it was the Calgary Flames. Calgary went through Nashville, then a 7-game series in the second round against Vegas, sweeping the Winnipeg Jets. I think we would have stood a very good chance against Calgary. The New Jersey Devils swept Calgary in the finals. I mean, New Jersey went through the Islanders, a 7-game series against Columbus. They swept the last 8 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. They definitely deserved the Stanley Cup. New Jersey has won 2 straight Stanley Cups. I think for the first time in this franchise mode, we've seen a team other than ourselves win back-to-back. They're a good team. They are a damn good team, and it goes back to last year's finals when they beat us in Game 7, and maybe the tides are turning, and I think that's more proof that we're not the same team. Let's look at the individual awards. Henry Auger, I believe Florida was yet again beat in the first round, but congrats on the Art Ross. He also wins the Hart Memorial. Brandt Clark wins his 2nd straight James Norris as a, 34, 35-year-old. I'm glad he's here on this squad. Definitely took over for Quinn Hughes. He's been one of the best defensemen in our franchise's history. Probably second best. Quinn Hughes, Brandt Clark, everybody else. Mironov would be up there too, I would think. Lady Byng, Damian Hunter. Congrats, Florida. Calder goes to Foster. Conn Smythe goes to Joel Everberg. 2 years running. Best goal scorer in the NHL right now. Vezina goes to DeAndre Moore. So DeAndre Moore picked up some goaltending hardware, which means his contract is going to be more and more expensive, which is fun for us, which means the cap. We need to dump some cap. Bill Masterton goes to Francisco from Vegas. Jack Adams goes to Fontaine. Frank J. Selke goes to Anthony Francis. Congrats, Anthony. Ted Lindsay goes to Henry Auger. And Joel Everberg wins the Maurice Richard Trophy. As I said, this team is changing, and I'm not gonna pull. I'm gonna pull the trigger. If I find a deal for anybody on the squad, I'm gonna do it. And with the contracts coming up, I'll show you. Harry Parrish, Bissonnette, Chistov, everybody else is pretty easy. And then we have DeAndre Moore, who is also up. How much is he asking for? $9 million. We don't have the money for everybody. And that's just a fact. Harry Parrish is probably top priority. I'm going to wait until the offseason to offer him a contract. Bissonnette probably isn't going to come back. I think he just dropped to a top 4 exact potential. I love him, but he's asking for what? Close to $10 million? We don't have that kind of money. This team is rebuilding. I'm putting that out there. I'm not holding any... I'm not holding... What's the opposite of holding your trigger? I don't know. The Vancouver Canucks win the draft lottery. Congrats. Detroit moves from 4th to 2nd. Detroit, maybe you will finally not be a dumpster fire. Draft class, we'll talk about that. I don't know if we're going to move up. If we can, we will. With the assets I plan on trading, this team is taking a turn for the worst. But we have to. I'd rather do it now before the franchise mode is over and make this team competitive. In, I want to say, a year, we can turn this team around right again. So if you retired players, who's calling it quits this year? Top of that list is Elias Pettersson at 38 years of age. You also see another Vancouver player in Vasily Podkolzin, so they lose a lot this year. And Brock Besser, who is on the Calgary Flames. But man, oh man, Vancouver had to say goodbye to some legends. I mean, geez Louise, Hall of Famer easily. What a player. Trevor Zegras for Anaheim, Cole Caulfield, Besser, Nico Hischier. A lot of guys calling it quits this year. The league is looking a lot different. Oh, Nils Hoglander. Nils Hoglander finishes with almost 1,000 points. It's a pretty solid NHL career. We traded him to Nashville, stayed there for the majority of his career, went to Tampa Bay for 1 year, had 42 points, and then decided to call it quits at 36 so he can move back to Sweden. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Then you have Alexander Kovanoff, former Minnesota Wild. Not a bad career. Not a bad career. Yeah, the league's looking a lot different. Looking a lot different, but it was bound to happen. Any goaltenders calling it quits? Top of that list is Carter Hart is done. Finishes with the Avalanche, but we know him mostly for being in Dallas all those years, beating us a few times in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He definitely had our number the most of the time, but decides to go to Colorado for 1 year. Not the worst year, but it's been a few years since he was in his prime, but not a bad NHL career. 652 wins. I think that would put him second all-time in NHL wins, but congratulations. Stuart Skinner with 211. So some big goaltenders calling it quits this year. Yeah, did we lose anybody in particular? I didn't actually check that. Let me make sure we didn't lose anybody. If it's AHL guys, I don't really care. Minnesota Wild. Yeah, nobody calling it quits on the Minnesota Wild. But very soon, guys like Francis and Petrangelov and Brandt Clark are going to call it quits. They're going to start digressing. We've seen that in Anthony Francis. This team is turning. The tides are turning. I'm not going to go to the view draft class. The interview screen never works anyways, or it doesn't help you at all. I'm going to say this now. If I find a trade for any player that makes sense, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull the trigger. If there's a trade for Anthony Francis, I'm going to pull the trigger. Now, I know you might be saying, well, you've had him for all this time. And I would agree. But if there's a trade out there that makes sense, I'm going to do that trade. If it makes sense, we can get $14 million off the cap, which then we could retain a lot of guys. Now, there was a comment from the guy who created, or when I created subscriber created players for this, or for this franchise mode, there was a comment, and I gotta find it here. No, give me a sec. I'll find it. So I'll put it on the screen, just so you guys can have a frame of reference. But it's from Alexei Petrangelov, the guy who created the subscriber created player. Breaking news: Minnesota Wild future Hall of Famer forward Alexei Petrangelov responds to rebuild rumors. Quote, it's not this year. That's all that matters. So that was last year. When it does, anybody can get traded, including myself, while my no trade clause, which normally prevent that I have given GM Thumbs a list of teams that I'm willing to waive this clause. I will not reveal them to the public, but my agent has already sent the list. And there's whatever team Marcus Mironov is on, so that'd be Columbus. If we trade him to Columbus, so I'm trying to keep it realistic for Petrangelov. The other teams on the no trade, that he'd waive his no trade clause to is Philly, Carolina, Boston, Florida, Nashville, and Vegas. Cool. Later, he was reported saying, I love Minnesota and what I've done here, but I take deals to stay competitive and stay with my friends. And if I can't do that here, I will send my thank yous and goodbyes. That's a fact. If we're trading him, we have his no trade clause, or we have his no trade, or his trade list of teams that he'd go to. So if there's a team out there that wants to take a Petrangelov, if we're not going to be the most competitive squad for a year, then I'll listen to him. Right, that goes for everybody. And we're gonna start the draft. We're getting things done. I'm holding no attachments here. If there's deals to be made, I'm making deals. So no teams in the top want to make any deals. We have the 26th and 27th first round pick. So I want to see if there's anybody around there. We're making deals. We're checking things out. If there's a team that wants to make a deal, I'm willing to do that. So 26th, 27th. Nothing around there makes me very happy, but it looks like around those picks, the draft starts to fall off. But nobody wants to move up. We got a Raymond. If we're trading up for a top tier prospect, and that would be top 4. Esberg, Crowder, Jeffrey, or Norenon. Or Corson, maybe. I'm not sure how good he is because my scouts are trash. But I know we don't trade for pick if there's not the option out there. But are any of these teams competitive right now? Like the Ottawa Senators. Are they competitive right now? They're a rebuilder. Are all these teams rebuilders? I mean, Vancouver could look for a guy after losing Pettersson. They're a rebuilder. So are all these teams rebuilders right here? The Detroit Red Wings. Detroit, rebuilder. So they're all rebuilders. I get it. The LA Kings, that I probably wouldn't want to trade anything big to. Yeah, 3rd overall pick. They are a rebuilder. So it looks like we're going to have to stay out of that range right now. How about Edmonton? Edmonton Oilers. You're a rebuilder. Okay. So, right now we're just going to have to bide our time and just wait a little bit. The only pick that I'd be willing to move up for is Nashville's pick right there. But I'm going to go to find trade. I doubt this works. I think we're going to have to do it manually. But if there's a trade out, see, look at their trade values just falling off. Let's look for Petrangelov. I doubt there's, yeah. Oh, there's trades out there. And it'd be Pittsburgh. Is Pittsburgh on his no trade or his trade list? So, no, it does not look like it. So Philly, Carolina, Boston, Florida, Nashville. So too bad. Maybe we can look in the off season because I don't plan on doing the entire off season this episode. But I'm just thinking, how about Newman, who is also getting up there in age? Is there anything out there for him? No trades found. I guess because of cap is definitely going to hurt our chances of making these trades. Anthony Francis, I doubt there's anything. Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to do it manually. We're going to have to do it manually. Brant Clark? No trades found. Yeah, these guys are just making so much money that we're going to have to do it on our own. That's a fact. So I guess we're just going to go do it ourselves. So we're going to sim. Do we sim to our pick? I think, yeah, we're just going to sim to our pick. User number 26. It looks to drop off from there, but I'm going to call a few timeouts just so we can get our trades done. I know you might be like, don't trade all these guys, and I'm like, well, I want to. Right? Esberg, Crowder, all these guys are top tier players. I would have liked Corson. Jeffrey was pretty good as well. Then it kind of stagnates there. Nothing super impressive after that. So it's definitely not the best draft to be making top tier picks. But let's go to the trade block, see if there's anything out there. But I do plan going into free agency and all that. We're making deals. And that's what I plan on doing. So first, we're going to look at Pietrangelo. That's the easiest contract we could move right now. And I'm gonna go. I don't know why I can't remember his his trade list. So Marcus Mironov is on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll check that right now. So they do want him, and I believe he's still on. Mironov is still here. 83 overall at 35 years of age, making $12 million. Does Columbus have anything interesting? Does not look like it, but I'll take a crap load of firsts. I'll take your first that year and the year after, and I'll take a second. I'll just take a crap load of picks. If you want to give me picks, I'll take your picks. Like, if you want to give me all those picks, I'll do the trade. Columbus would be over the cap, but I'll take... Okay, so we'll have to take cap back, which I'm totally fine in doing that. But this team might not even be good in the next little bit, but so we'll take Wahlstrom. We'll take Wahlstrom. That's only 1 year, and we'll just let him go in free agency. So Wahlstrom, come over. Minnesota would be over the cap. Okay, so we'll have to take somebody kind of in between. Power. Austin Powers. Okay, so we could get that trade through. I think we do it. I know you might be like, well, why are you... Come on, Owen, don't do that. And if we're rebuilding quickly, Columbus might not be a good team next year. I know it says they're a champion, but a lot of those guys are dropping off really quickly. This might be the best move to make, and this video might be a longer one because we're making a lot of decisions here. A lot of decisions, so have this right in front of me. So Carolina, Boston, Florida, Nashville, Vegas. So we're going to come back to Columbus. We're going to go all the way over here to Carolina. Carolina does not want him, so we're not going to even deal with that. Boston. Boston does want him. They are champion. I'm sure he would want to go to a competitive team. Oh, they're not looking like they're going to be super competitive in the very near future. I mean, Joshua Waska. Oh, they got a lot of contracts up. This is where we might have to capitalize on a pick or two. Yeah, this might be the team to go for, because they want to trade their firsts, and they might turn around and be a pretty mediocre team. So 2 firsts. I mean, we could get a second. They got any skaters matching the block? Nothing super impressive. This might be the perfect team to take picks from. Hobson. Hobson. That might even be a good player to bring on. 2 years left at 2. They don't have... After that, they don't have anything super impressive picks-wise, or players-wise. So, Boston. I think Philly was the next team. See, we're just going all in. We're going all in. If there's a trade to make, we're going to do it. I think blowing up this team is going to be really fun in general. So Florida does not want him. Nashville Predators. Nashville Predators do want him. They're a contender. They're in the same conference, which I'm kind of iffy about. Do they have any skaters matching the block? Nothing super interesting. We have a bunch of Wagners already. So... If their firsts are on the block, but I think they're going to be a relatively good team. I think Boston or Columbus are the best moves right now. Vegas? Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights. Do not. So, Boston. For being realistic, they don't have they're going to have a lot of cap going into the offseason. Adding the $7 million for Pietrangelo. Let's see. So they have... their defense is going to look... They could be a good team, though. They could be a good team. We could... well... We could totally steal Hobson from them. If we get Pietrangelo in the 2 seconds, or the 2 firsts, we could steal Hobson from them. If they want to go win right now, at a top-tier player, they're going to have to give up some assets. I think this trade almost makes sense. Now let's go over to Columbus again. Columbus does want, and we can make that trade work. If you put Power there, and we get... Oh, they have Skuin. They have Niemi. We could get one of these trades done. So his contract's up. Kron's contract is up. We have Keeling. Rogers isn't too bad. They don't have as... They have more options. They have more options than Boston. Pick-wise, we could just steal a bunch. But I think Boston might be the team to go and steal some assets from. I think that might be... Yeah, I think Boston might be the right move. Why did I take Pietrangelo off? Why did I do it? I know, you might be saying, well, you might want to, like, hold on. I know, some of the untouchables, but I've gotten consent from Pietrangelo to trade him, if it makes sense. Now, I'm wondering, to make it more realistic, we could totally trade for Marcus... No, Marcus Mironov is making too much, never mind. I think we're just going to trade him to Boston. They're champion. They might be bad. I'm willing to steal some first-round picks from them first. But now I'm like, Columbus might be pretty bad. Hobson, I'm willing to take. That trade would easily go through. I think it would go through. Right? They get a top-tier scorer. We get 2 firsts. Hobson, who can play center. See, this is hard. This is hard. We're just going to be doing a lot of discussing this episode. Right? I mean... Or do we give... Or do we just... Or do we respect his wishes and trade him to where Marcus Mironov is? Can Hobson play third line? Hobson, why did I go over there? Hobson. I don't know if he'd... Well, how are you? How are you, Hobson? Giveaway to takeaway ratio is pretty... Last year was really good. Columbus. Columbus. Let's look at Columbus again. Columbus. The Columbus Blue Jackets. Well, they got Novak, right? And they still look like they're going to be pretty solid for... Well, they got a lot of contracts up. Like, a lot of contracts. Like, they got Threffel up. They got Niemi. How much... They don't have much money anyways. So... Steal a bunch of picks from Columbus. I'll do Columbus. I'll do Columbus. Yeah, if we need to steal a pick from Boston, we'll do it. But I'll take your first, your second, and then I'll take your first and second. So I'll take your 2 firsts, 2 seconds from Columbus. If you want this trade done, if you want this top-tier player, you're going to have to do it. That's a fact. That's a fact, Columbus. If this trade goes through, I'll take it. Pietrangelo, you've been one of the best players in our franchise's history. You're still one of the best players in your top 3 all-time. You're a machine. 793 goals. But you get to go play with Marcus Mironov, finish your career there. Trade goes through. The Minnesota Wild have officially begun the rebuild. It's official, folks. Wow. Holy smokes. Okay. We pulled the trigger. We pulled the trigger. Oh, we have Columbus's pick this year, too. That's funny. So we have Columbus's pick this year, next year, and the year after. I find that really funny. Okay. We've traded Pietrangelo. This team is changing. So, I think the next player we try out is Anthony Francis on the block. And you might be saying, what are you doing? And I'm kind of agreeing with you. So Boston. Boston. You want to do this? You don't really have... I want a top-tier prospect if we're getting Anthony Francis over, right? If they're getting Anthony Francis. Do we send him to Columbus? Do we send him over to the Columbus Blue Jackets? The only way I'm sending him to Columbus is if we get Niemi. The only way we're doing that deal. And he's coming off of his contract, right? The only way I'm doing that deal. The only way I'm doing that deal is if we get Niemi. That's the only way. The only way. To Columbus, that's the only way. I'll take him for no other. Oh, we'd have over... Okay, we can make this work. We can make this work. Niemi. Come on, Niemi. I know you want... We'll even throw in... We'll even throw in a bottom-tier prospect in Monte. The only way I'm doing this deal is for Niemi. The only way. Anthony Francis is one of the best NHL players of all time. We're just making Columbus a good team. That's literally what we're doing. But we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Dallas. Does Dallas even have anything? I know. I know. You guys are like, what are you doing, Owen? You can still be competitive for like a few more seasons, and I agree. But if we start the rebuild now, we'll be good before the franchise mode is over. Right? Right? You agree? You have to see where I'm coming from on this one. New Jersey. New Jersey. Do you have any guys that you want to send our way? You have some mid-tier prospects? Firsts? I'll take your first for the next 8 years, please. You imagine Anthony Francis with Joel Everberg? Do they have... Okay. They don't really have anything to offer anyways, so... Well... Yeah, I don't want to just trade him away for nothing, you know? We have to trade him away for something. So there's not a lot of teams that... There's no teams that can really afford him. The good news is a lot of teams have terrible contracts that we can bring over. Or like... Connor McDavid is still kicking. Pittsburgh. Yeah, the only... I'd do it for Niemi from Columbus, really, if we're being honest here. No other team looking like they want him, so... The options here are Boston, which is the team that originally had his pick. If you don't recall, that's the team that originally had his pick, but I'll take your first next year, your first the year after, the next first. Oh, we're making it happen, boys. And do they have any bad contracts they want off the books? Jack Hughes. Well, we can take over Merkley. And then you'll give us Hobson. For Anthony Francis, if they want to go compete, they'll give us Hobson. Anthony Francis for 3 firsts and Hobson from the Boston Bruins. We're sending him back to the team that originally had his pick. I think he'd be stupid not to take this deal. But I feel really ashamed if we trade him away. Like, I feel terrible if I do this. He's almost at 2,000 points. But we're rebuilding on the fly. I'll do this trade. Straight up. Do this trade. Ooh, Hobson, if they retain, like, half, maybe, I don't know. No, I won't make them retain. I won't make them retain. That'd be mean. No. We still could be really competitive next year, too. We're just trading away all these big pieces so we can bring in more and make this team more competitive before this franchise mode is over. Boston needs to compete right now. Losing potentially Joshua Wall and all those people, you get Anthony Francis, all of a sudden, you're in the ring to compete for a Stanley Cup. And I'll take your 3 first-round picks for the next 3 years. Oh my god, we did it. Oh my god. Oh my god, what have I done? Oh my god, what have I done? Oh my god. Anthony Francis is no longer a Minnesota Wild. And now he's a 97 overall. Wow. I hope Boston can retain a bunch of those guys. Hey. So yeah, we just did that. So we have 3 firsts next year, 3 firsts the year after, and then we have 2 firsts the year after that. Wow. Holy moly, we just did that. I don't really know where to start. Do we trade Brandt Clark? We can try Brandt Clark. Anything out there for Brandt Clark? Columbus. Hey, Columbus, you want Brandt Clark? I'll do Brandt Clark for Niemi. Straight up. Straight up. You get a vet, and we'll take on whatever cap you want us to take on. Wallstrom for 1 year? Sure. Minnesota Wild would have more than... Okay. So you want... We'll even give you a rookie skater. We'll give you a prospect. You want somebody like Yonkman? Brandt Clark for Niemi? We're sending him over with Petrangelov and Marcus Smirnov. I know, guys. I know. I completely agree. You might be freaking out right now, but this is fun, blowing this team up. It's kind of satisfying after all this time. Brandt Clark is not going to have this trade value. I would have never traded him away, but if this trade goes through, we get a 21-year-old who's coming off of a contract, which we'll give to former 3rd overall pick, who started his career, actually had a pretty decent start to his career. He's right-handed. We're swapping defensemen. I'm willing to do this deal. Trade rejected. I understand that. We'll give you a 1st-round pick from next year. We'll actually give you a 1st-round pick from this year. We'll give you Columbus's 26 overall. I'm cheering for Columbus so much right now. Because what did we just give them? We just gave them Petrangelov and Brandt Clark. And we gave them back their 1st-round pick, right? So Niemi. Johnny Niemi. Welcome to the team. You're in charge now. So this team is completely altered. Completely. Now, it says we only have $6 million in cap space, but we're fine. We brought on a bunch of contracts anyways. We're fine. Anybody else on this team that we can trade away right now? Numanen, I think... I think Numanen needs to stay. I think it's his time to shine on the squad. Put him next to Hadar and Kron on the first line. I'm fine with that. With all the young guys coming up, this might... We'll put him there. We're just going to test it out. We'll go backwards. Okay, anybody want him? Pittsburgh wants him. Pittsburgh doesn't really have much. New Jersey wants him. Nashville wants him. Dallas. Columbus. Hey, Columbus. You want to talk again? You don't really have much. You don't really have anything to give up anyways, so... we kind of screwed them for the next few years. I mean, they can compete right now and win I hope they go out and win a Stanley Cup. But Newman can stay on. Columbus selects Demers. I think that's all the trades I want to make. Oh, I feel sick. This makes me feel sick. We have any scouted guys? Wow, we just traded away everything. We traded away Brant Clark, Anthony Francis, and Petrangelov. The fans should be rioting right now. They should be rioting. What was that? Oh my god, I got so scared. I don't know what happened. Okay. So any guys around here so we don't select him? That's what our scouts say. Do we pick the winger or do we just trade this first? I'm not even do we go after the goalie? 2 years. Oh my god, what a pick. 2-year ETA. He might be pretty good. I'm gonna go with this Donovan Dingle guy. Or I know we're picking out of our spot, but 71 overall starter at 19 years of age is not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. I feel sick to my stomach though. Sick to my stomach. I told you things were gonna happen. We're blowing this team up, even though we might be super competitive next year. We might even go out and win a Stanley Cup next year. But we just traded away so much. For our last 14 straight President's Trophies, all of those guys have been a part of. So, I'm a little sad, so give me a little bit of a break. There's not much in this draft. So, I mean, well, let's go and pick this goalie. We'll pick another goalie. Might as well. Goalie. Yay, medium elite. Always pick a goalie. When in doubt, pick a goalie. Wow. We might even have a bunch of cap to go into free agency and select a bunch of guys. Or pick up a bunch of guys, right? Joshua Waugh might even go to free agency, which would be awesome. Oh, we didn't even have a pick until okay, so. And if we missed anything in these few rounds here, we did everything I came to do in this episode. Now, if you think there should be a captain next year, I want to hear what you have to say, because I have no idea who I'd name captain at this point in time. Maybe Numanen, who is currently the best player on this team. Holy moly. Yep, we have completely altered this team. I think for the better, though. If one of those teams turns out to be a lottery and we pick up a top-tier prospect, I think that helps us out. It's what, 2038 right now? 2037? It might help us out in the long one, so our 20 years of age. I don't like picking 20-year-olds. This guy's coming from A+ competition. Torsten Halver, nope, no, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. From Sweden. Not good, but we got 2 top-tier goaltender prospects. I'm not upset with the picks that we made. I'm happy with what I got back. We did right on Petrangelov. We even traded them Brant Clark, and he's there with Marcus Mironov. And Anthony Francis goes to the team that originally had the pick to acquire him. Wow. This guy's name is Lowe. Lulo. What a name. Your parents must hate you. That's all I'm going to say. So we have the 27th overall pick here in the 6th round, and all I feel is like garbage. We just traded away everybody. I never planned on doing that with Jeffrey Woodworth. I guess because Jeffrey Woodworth was a computer-generated guy, and I felt more attached to him. We'll pick this Camden Sandlack guy. Not good, but it's whatever. We got everything that we needed to get. Now the question is, maybe we revamp our coaching. We'll have to see. Legitimately, everything hurts. Like, this sucks. But it's a good thing to do. I told you it was going to happen, and we did it. We respected the wishes of Petrangelov. He's gone. We'll keep a close eye on Columbus. Select this guy right here. Not a bad pick for the 7th round. Sim entire draft. We didn't make the best picks. We picked 2 pretty good goaltenders, but we did everything we needed to do, and we have so many picks for the next three years. If 1 or 2 of them can be top 10 picks, I think we came out on the right end. And we got Jani Niemi, who's going to replace Brant Clark and is what, so many years younger. If you disagree with me, hey, I'm sorry. It's just, I thought it'd make this franchise mode more refreshing until the next one starts, right? Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like, leave a comment, share with people who think manager the sort of thing. See you in the next one. Ciao.